Hi and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to give you 5 top tips to kickstart your creativity if you're feeling in a bit of a rut. Okay, let's get on with it. Number 1, set yourself limitations. Now, you may be somebody who carries around a big book bag full of lenses, which I do quite often. You may be somebody who tries an awful lot of gear out on something. You might carry flash, you might carry all kinds of stuff. Well, there's nothing that kickstarts the imagination like having to solve problems. And if you're used to going out with a bag full of lenses or, a couple of very wide-ranging zooms, then just go out with a standard lens. This is a Nikkor pancake lens, which I've just got hold of. And going out with something like that, and one camera body, and that immediately will make you think more. And thinking is the ideal thing. You don't want to be just, taking the camera and pointing it around and blasting off everything. To be creative, you have to start using that bit that's between your ears. And with anything, putting restrictions on is a really, really good way. I'm a guitarist as well as being a photographer. I've been playing guitar since I was a small kid. And when I get in a rut with that, I try a different tuning because that makes me think outside the box. And a different lens will, or rather just one lens, will make you think outside of that box. You'll have to use your feet. Zooms are absolutely fantastic, don't get me wrong, but they make you lazy. They make you twist that ring rather than move your position. And the problem with that is that there's a very different perspective from, say, the long end of a zoom, maybe 85 millimeters, and the short end of a zoom, maybe 28 millimeters. Big difference in perspective. And you should be using a conscious decision to decide what perspective you want. And a zoom means you just stand in one place and change the perspectives. And that doesn't show you what happens when you get up close and use a wide angle, or go a long way away and use a telephoto, or even use a telephoto that has a close focus in and really frame tight. So if you want the first building block to improve your creativity, it's use one lens and really get to know it. Take one lens out on a walk. Take one lens into a really target-rich photographic environment and make the absolute best of it. Then you'll find when you go out with a bag full of lenses, you think that bit more before you make your choice. Another way of restricting yourself, which I quite often use, is to go out with some particular attribute in mind. Maybe if I'm shooting black and white, I'll go and think, I'm going to do textures today. I'm going to look for things that are demonstrating their texture, maybe by lighting or whatever, but rough stone or smooth water. Or I'll maybe think, right, I'm shooting colour today, so I'm going to start thinking restrictive with colours. I'm going to zero in on bold primary colours, or maybe I'm going to think pastels, but I'm going to think the colour before I actually think about anything else about the subject. So you're focusing in, you are restricting yourself so that you concentrate your mind on the problem. Okay, so now we're going to have tip number 2. Think in terms of projects. It's very, very easy to go out and go, what shall I shoot today? Oh, I'll snap one of that tree and one of that waterfall, and yeah, great. But what you end up with often is a very non-cohesive body of work, a kind of fruit salad of things, which, okay, there might be nice pictures, but they're not pushing you forward and they're not making you create something that will interest someone else. And I think that's really quite important. So I suggest that you start thinking in terms of projects. What do I mean by projects? Well, actually, I'm fairly bad at doing it these days, and I'm teaching myself to do this again. As a professional photographer, I was given assignments. I was told what things that I needed to shoot. I was shooting theatre a lot, so I was shooting a narrative, and that kind of thought itself out. Now, I'm not having to rely on photography for a living anymore. I'm having to learn to create my own briefs, to imagine a completed goal, a body of work together. One way that I've done this is to produce photo books, and these are available to buy. I will actually give links to these, but they are bodies of work that are related to each other, and I've had to think about shoots to create the content for. It can be anything that interests you. You might be a mountain biker, so you could do a body of work about mountain biking, and you'd be in an ideal position to be able to see the best angles to take mountain biking from. You could produce a fantastic book, I'm sure, or an exhibition, or just something on a web page. But if you think projects, again, it focuses the mind in on being creative, in linking things together. So think projects, think cohesive bodies of work, and then that'll turn on the juices up here. Okay, now for tip number 3. This is a tip that sometimes I'm not very good at taking myself, and that is to go out and shoot whatever the weather is. In fact, bad weather is just as interesting as a nice sunny day or a sunset. Or I've got some photographs which I'll put at the end of this episode, which are from a shoot I did in bad weather a couple of weeks back at Hadley Castle, and they benefit from the foul weather. I didn't, I got soaked, but it made me think. Sunshine, blue skies, very easy to get quite boring pictures, but ones that you think are going to be good. But bad weather looks great, trust me. Now, tip number 4. This tip is about mastering new techniques, expanding your creativity by trying something that you've never actually tried before. Now, this can be something like you're a landscape photographer and you're in a rut, well, go into a city. Try a cityscape. Try people photography. Or this could be a technique in itself. For example, you could be learning to master off-camera flash, or you could be learning how to master filters. Anything that will get that grey matter running. You need just to focus in on learning something new, mastering something new, and getting that racked away so that you can take that out and use that skill whenever you need it next. So that's, again, engage the brain by learning a new skill. Tip number 5, and this one's a little bit contentious. This is improve your creativity by studying photographers that really influence you, photographers you really admire. People may say, well, you're going to start becoming a copycat. You're just going to be maybe trying to copy pictures, and you're absorbing someone else's style rather than creating your own. But when you can analyze what actually makes a style, when you can break down the elements that make a great photographer instantly recognizable, then you can analyze your own work and see what traits are present in that. And for instance, I look at my own work and I do a lot of quite dark, brooding things with a lot of vignetting. I work in black and white a lot. It's my style. But I had to actually look for that style initially and find out what it was and start playing to it. So I'd recommend that you start looking at other photographers. You start looking at where their style comes from. Then you can maybe try some of their style and see where it fits and where it doesn't fit with your own interpretations of things. And from that, you can start to build up an idea of what your own style is. And when you have a good idea of what your own style is, creativity tends to come fairly naturally. Okay, so that's some ideas to try and get our minds working, and Lord knows we all need ideas to get our minds working with the pandemic and all the things that are going with the holiday season coming fast upon us. I've got some great things coming up around Christmas and in the early new year when I get a chance to actually go out and do some more shooting. This big beast that you see on the front of the Nikon is a Samyang 85mm f1.4, and I'm going to be doing a thorough test of that and let you know my results. I've already shown you the little 50mm pancake lens, which I've tried on my Sony A7 that I'm filming this on, and it's a stunning little lens, and we'll go into that. Lots of stuff coming up. I'll be using the large format and doing some stuff with the RB67. Just tons of content coming up, and I'm so looking forward to doing it. And if you want to come along for the ride, then please do subscribe, hit that like button, get your notifications, and come along and take pictures. You can share your pictures with me as well. Please, I'll find a way of doing this. This is another thing I want to do in the new year, is find a way of you being able to show your pictures to me and me being able to give my comments. And I love comments as well. Please keep the comments coming in. And if this is my last video before Christmas, then you have a very peaceful holiday season. And you look after yourself and keep taking pictures, all right?